welcome in to Texans Today, everybody. I am your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we've got a great slate of rumors on tap for you today. Could the Texans be trading for Raiders tight end Michael Mayer? What about those Eagles cornerbacks that just got released? Could the Texans have any interest in either of those guys? And also, one of the Bengals starting offensive linemen just got released this week. Could the Texans be in the market for him with, actually, right as I'm filming this, Jonah Jackson, my number one target for the Texans, just got traded to the Chicago Bears. Another reason why you got to hit that sub button. Another reason why you got to have your notifications turned on, because whenever news like this happens, I break it down here on the channel. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to the number one Texans channel here on YouTube. Hit that notification bell so if there is breaking news, if something happens, you're the first person to be notified. And make sure you select the all option so that whenever we drop a video, you get notified on your phone, tablet, whatever device you're using. Make sure you're staying locked in with all the latest Texans news and rumors. And speaking of the latest Texans rumors, let's first break down this one. Are the Texans trading for Michael Mayer, tight end, for the Las Vegas Raiders? I'm going to give this one to Toro heads. The people are talking. I don't think it's extremely likely, but I also don't think it's totally out of the conversation. With the Texans trading for Michael Mayer, the latest rumors around the Las Vegas tight end, I really do think this could be an intriguing option for this Texans team and Nick Caserio. We know with new offensive coordinator Nick Caley, the Texans want to have an emphasis on the tight end spot. And what better way to start off Nick Caley's run with the Houston Texans than going out and getting a very talented guy in Michael Mayer? The former second-round pick hasn't really flourished with Las Vegas after they went ahead and took Brock Bowers in round one of last year's draft. And there's been so many trade rumors flying around Mayer because he doesn't seem happy in Las Vegas. They're ready to move on with Brock Bowers and with a new offense in Chip Kelly. So maybe it's a right timing for the Houston Texans, who might want to upgrade the tight end spot. I know they have Dalton Schultz, Brevin Jordan, Cade Stover, who they drafted last year. But if they want to upgrade that unit even more, a Michael Mayer trade might make some sense. I talked to our Raiders Report host, Mitchell Renz, and he gave me this trade idea. The Texans receive Michael Mayer in exchange for a 2025 fourth-round pick number 127 that the Texans own. Go down in the comments section and let me know. Would you make this trade for Michael Mayer? Give me a yes, give me a no down in the comment section if you would make this trade. So, me personally, I don't think, it necessarily happens for the Houston Texans. It's a very weird situation with Michael Mayer down there or up there in Las Vegas. I would rather the Texans make this move, though, than draft a tight end in the first 3 rounds of this year's draft. I know that's been a very popular pick for a lot of Texans fans. A lot of rumors flying around Colston Loveland and other guys in the draft like Elijah Arroyo, among others. But personally, I would rather the Texans fill other needs in, offensive line, offensive weapons, the secondary, rather than trading or drafting a tight end in the first 3 rounds. If that means we can trade a fourth for Michael Mayer, then I'm okay with it. Obviously, the production hasn't been there for Mayer. 2023, 14 games played, decent numbers, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 drop. This past season, I know it says 11 games played, but it really didn't feel like that. He sat out a chunk of the Raiders season for personal issues. There has not been any really reporting on why he sat out. I don't know if it was injury related. I don't know if it was related to, his situation with the team, family matters. It really has been kind of swept under the rug what happened with Michael Mayer this season. But I do know one thing. It doesn't seem like Mayer likes his fit in Las Vegas and his fit moving forward with this Raiders franchise. So if you're able to get him on the cheap, maybe a 4th, maybe a 5th round pick for Mayer on a position that you are already going to try to upgrade in the draft. Remember, Michael Mayer was a 2nd round pick. A lot of people considered a steal when the Raiders drafted him in 2023. Maybe the Texans can add to that tight end room on the cheap and get some untapped potential in Michael Mayer. Now, next up on the show, the Texans. Could they be signing one of the Eagles' cornerbacks in free agency? 2 just got released by Howie Roseman and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. I'll tell you my thoughts on that in just a moment. But I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsors over at PrizePicks. Get started today with America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. With over 10 million active members and millions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. Hey, baseball season is right around the corner. Maybe you want to put in some season-long projections for your Astros. Well, they got you covered, and you can make those picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS. You get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. And if you're like, Jeremy, I don't even know where to start. Well, lucky for you, here is my season-long PrizePicks for the Astros. Obviously, you have to have one player from another team in there. So, I know, close your eyes, Astros fans. Kyle Tucker, I added him to my PrizePicks lineup. But Yordan Alvarez, I took the more on home runs. The newest Houston Astro, Christian Walker, I took the more on his home runs. Framber Valdez, I took the more on his wins. And then Kyle Tucker, I think he's going to do pretty good up there in Chicago. I took the more on his home runs. Use my picks, go against them. Just do it over on PrizePicks. Once again, use that code CLNS. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Get started today with our friends over at PrizePicks. Run your game. I'm only giving one Toro head to the Texans signing one of these Eagles cornerbacks just because I don't really see it happening. It doesn't really, make a lot of sense for the Houston Texans. I was trying to wrap my brain around, could the Texans possibly bring in Darius Slay? I was talking to our Eagles host, Chase Sr. here at Chat Sports, and I just don't know if it makes a lot of sense. The Texans already are set on their outside corners in Stingley and Laster. They need more depth, maybe some guys that can play, that nickel slot role, and that's not really what Darius Slay is. He's a, maybe not a true CB1, but he's a CB2 in this league right now. And I don't know if the Texans necessarily need to spend some money on that. His 2024 coverage stats, pretty decent if you look at him, and he played fantastic in the playoffs for the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year, 13 pass breakups, a quarterback rating when targeted of 83.8. And, he's still got it. He's up there in age. He's on the wrong side of 30. But Darius Slay looks good. This past 4 years, yes, he's missed, 8 games over the past 2 seasons. But still, look at those pass breakups. He still had, a combined 28 PBUs over the past 2 seasons. Not too shabby, if you ask me. The talent is no question there, but the fit is the biggest question with Darius Slay. And honestly, if I'm looking at everything and how much sense it makes, because Slay already came out and said he wanted to play for a contender, it makes too much sense for Slay to go back to Detroit and play for the Detroit Lions to end his career. That's the team that he played, the lion's share of the beginning of his career with. And I think it just makes too much sense for him to return to Detroit and play for Dan Campbell. There's a need for corner in Detroit. He fits that need. He wants to play for a contender back into his career. I think he's a Lion, if you ask me. And then the other corner that just got released by the Philadelphia Eagles, James Bradberry, where we talked about question marks with Michael Mayer earlier in the program. James Bradberry has a ton of question marks as well, because the reporting around his injury this year, it was an Achilles injury. But they wouldn't go as far to say it was an Achilles tear. What exactly the injury was, it was just he's out with an Achilles injury. So that scares the ever-living heck out of me. I thought maybe as a depth piece, maybe as somebody that you sign and is really cheap. But, I was talking with the guys in the office, and if you're going to sign a cheap cornerback for depth, you want him to play in special teams. I don't think James Bradberry does that for you either. I don't think he's a special teams option for teams, going into free agency. So the fit just doesn't make sense with the Houston Texans there. I thought about it a little bit of, maybe it's a decent depth signing. The Texans, they need, some guys behind Kamari Lassiter, behind Derek Stingley. I just don't know if James Bradberry is that guy with the amount of question marks around his health and if he can play moving forward. The last story on today's show, the Texans, could they be signing a former Bengals offensive lineman? I'm going to also give this one Toro head, saying there's a possibility. I don't absolutely love the idea of going out and signing Alex Cappa, who just recently got released by the Cincinnati Bengals. He was the starting guard for them, right guard, for the past 3 seasons. And if you know anything about the Cincinnati Bengals and the situation they have up there, their biggest issue has been protecting Joe Burrow. And if you're saying, oh, Alex Cappa was the guy in charge of protecting Joe Burrow the past 3 years, yeah, it gives you a little bit of worry going out and signing him. His PFF grades don't really reflect somebody who is a starting caliber offensive lineman in this league. With over 1,000 snaps this year, he had an overall grade of 50.5, a pass blocking grade of 39.7, run blocking grade of 54.9, and he allowed 8 sacks on the season. 2 penalties allowed as well. If it's a cheap depth signing, okay. Like, I'm okay with the Texans going out and getting Alex Cappa near the end of free agency as somebody who's like a backup, swing interior offensive lineman. But if the plan is to start Cappa with signing him, then no way. I would rather just keep Shaq Mason, Kenyon Green, because you're telling me I have to make these moves to then sign a guy who's arguably not as good, if worse, than those guys already? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'd rather just keep Shaq Mason at right guard. If the plan is to get Alex Cappa, then yeah, just stay put and do what you're doing right now, because there's no movement, there's no growth in that move at all, unless you're parting ways with Shaq Mason and you're signing Cappa to a very cheap deal as a backup offensive lineman. That's all I have for you on tap for today's show. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. And hey, you made it to the end of the video. Obviously, we're doing something correct here at Texans Today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for daily videos around your Houston Texans as we get started with free agency, trade, NFL draft, everything you need to know around your Houston Texans. We're breaking it down here on the channel.